Hey, investors. Is this thing recording? Yes. Hey, investors. It's Dr. Marsha from Bookworm Investment Club. I'm the creator and the founder of Bookworm. And it is here that we help women to invest in the stock market and build your own personal stock portfolio. And then eventually use the income that you get from that portfolio to live off of. And yeah, so that's what we do. Here today, I'm going to talk about earnings season. Yay, earnings season is here. So if you're not familiar with earnings season, I'm going to explain to you what it's about and how we use this earnings season as investors. So here we go. Earnings season takes place 4 times a year in January, April, July, and October. And it's the time of the year when companies that are publicly traded companies have to report their earnings per share and their revenues that they made in that previous quarter. And they also will let us know some other financial news that has happened in that quarter. So as investors, what do we do with this information? Well, 3 things. This information allows us to compare their actual results to what the analyst predicts. Number 2, it allows us to see, is this company growing? And number 3, it actually helps us make decisions whether or not we may want to buy or sell a couple of more shares of this company, especially if we already own it in our portfolios. So let's go to a little bit of detail about that. I'm going to talk about analysts. Analysts are people that follow these companies financially, and they know what the company is doing. And prior to the earnings being released by the companies, analysts will say, well, now see, why did I go with the male voice? We predict that based on what this company is doing, we think the revenues, they should have made this much money. And we think the earnings should be this. And so after that, the company then releases their earnings on a particular day, and we get to compare to see if the company actually met those analysts' predictions, if they missed it, or if they beat those analyst predictions. Take, for instance, Netflix last week. Netflix showed out last week. When they released their information, Netflix actually said, well, our earnings per share this past quarter was $1.19 per share. But the analyst said, well, we expected it to be $1.39. So what was that? They missed that prediction. Let's look at the revenue. The analyst actually said, based on your company's financials, we think that, or we expect you to make $6.62 billion the previous quarter. They actually made $6.64 billion. So they beat the analyst expectation. But the other thing that Netflix did, the analyst said, we expect your subscribers, new subscribers, to be, or I should say net subscribers, 6.4 million. They had 8.5. So they beat that expectation. Now, let's look at what the price of the stock did. The price of Netflix increased 15%. So after they announced their numbers, the stock price went up to $577 a share. 577 based on what they did. So all of you all uh, shareholders of Netflix, congratulations to you if you are holding that stock. I'm not one of them, but I do have a previous client that I work with who, in her first stock that she bought was Netflix. You know who you are, and congratulations to you. So that's a breakdown of the first thing that these earnings report help us as investors. It allows us to compare and see if they met, missed, or beat analyst expectation. The second thing is, let's talk about a company growing. So we as investors, we want to invest in companies that are growing. When analysts will let us know what their earnings and what their revenues were in previous quarters, we can take that information and go back and say, okay, did it grow from the quarter before that? Even more, if we go back this time last year, was there growth? Because this is what our expectations are as investors. The third thing that the earnings report allow us to do is we get to make decisions whether or not we want to pick up a couple of more shares or sell a couple of shares of a company, and we can use the analyst, the earnings report to do that. And speaking from a Bookworm Investment Club member, we are long-term investors, in that we like to invest in good companies and hold them, rarely selling, but we do have guidelines as to when we will sell. And so we're buy and hold. But we are also actively managing our individual portfolios, because you see, we're not a typical investment club, in that when you hear the word investment club, you think about people coming together, pooling their money and building one big stock portfolio. No, 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 we don't do that. What we do is to help you build your own individual stock portfolio. So we're helping each other do this. And so as actively managing our portfolio, not only are we buying stocks, but we are accumulating a number of shares of these companies in our portfolio. And so some of the things that can happen, suppose you have a company that is a good company that you're invested in, and for some reason, there's no perfect company. They may miss revenues, they may miss earnings, and you may see a price drop. Well, this is a good company. So you can take this opportunity to say, the price has dropped. I'm keeping this company in my portfolio. I might as well pick up a couple of shares. So we can use this information that we get from the earnings report to make decisions like that, to help us to accumulate shares in our portfolio. And actually, any investor who has individual stocks should know when their earnings are coming out, so you can be alerted to what is happening. And at Bookworm, one of the sites that we use is called Earnings Whispers. And when you subscribe to the site, it's free. And when we do have earnings coming out, they actually send us a weekly calendar of all of the stocks that are going to be reporting their earnings. So that's a nice little site to be subscribed to as an investor. It just helps us keep an eye out on our stocks. So this week, we're pretty excited about earnings. We've got a couple of stocks that some of our members have that are going to be reporting. We have Apple that's coming out, Microsoft, Tesla, and a couple of other stocks I can't recall at this time. So we're going to be actively watching this week's earnings report that come out. So that's all I have for now. I invite you to join us if you're interested in building your own personal stock portfolio. We meet once a month on the second Thursday of every month by Zoom, and you can get the information on the link below. So that's it. Make today a great rest of the day and keep investing in small steps. Take care. Bye-bye.